Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, October 14th meeting of the Arroyo Grande City Council. We are back from closed session. Can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Lowe. Councilmember Marvelia.
Here.
Councilmember Guthrie.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Seacrest.
Here.
Mayor Ray Russum.
Here. Would you please silently join me in a moment of reflection? Thank you. And tonight we have Mr. Sean Shore from the Five Cities Men's Club to lead us in the flag salute.
And remove the caps. Let's remember the men and women that have protected and served our country to protect these flags and our freedom. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Shore, not so fast.
Okay, well,
you
I
gotta
didn't know
tell
when I
us
get to
about.
talk. I'm always
You
ready.
get to tell us about what the Five Cities Men's Club's been up to.
Well, we're enjoying life in the Five Cities, being one of the largest landowners in the Five Cities, being the Arroyo Grande Camp. It's going well, it's going strong. We are, with the community's help, our donors' help, and our members' help, and the board of our foundation, they've been able to keep it running without being too red most of the time. And if you want to help us, we have a brick available for $250, and you can be part of it for a long time. You'd be actually in our new sidewalk area that we're planning. So there's a lot of things going on there. It serves multiple facets, from weddings to graduation to pool parties to 4-H. We've had campfire there. We've had Boy Scouts there. So truly a jewel of our community. But without our community, we wouldn't be a jewel. So we truly appreciate our community and everything that they do for us to make that happen. Also, this year we've been real aggressive at doing a lot of things. We did a program to send kids to camp. We've done different programs of Avila is our Fisherman's Wharf area. We did we refurbished the monument we built years ago for the fishermen that have perished in this area. Then if you go back around to just some of the other things that are here, we can always talk about the wall. We can always talk about basketball courts. We can always talk about a lot of things that the Arroyo Grande Five Cities Men's Club has been doing. But the biggest reason is for our community. So we appreciate being part of the community and getting things done. Thanks again. Have a great day, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Shore. Next, under agenda review, we have closed session announcements. I'll turn it over to our city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. So this evening, we're reporting out the same closed session announcements we made both for the September 23rd meeting and the closed session that was read into the record at that time, as listed on the agenda, as well as a closed session item from this evening read into the record at 5 p.m. And on both those items, there is no reportable action.
Thank you very much. And for item 5B, I will move that all ordinances presented at the meeting shall be read in title only and all further readings be waived.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries 5-0. I forgot to ask, any reason to reorder the agenda this evening? Okay, then we will proceed as published. Tonight we have several honorary proclamations as part of our special presentations. Our first one will be declaring October 2025 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Councilmember Lowe will be reading that on my behalf. And will Grace Post please meet her at the podium?
I'm not Grace. I'm filling in for Grace tonight. I'm Jill Lemieux. I'm the board president for Lumen Alliance. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, here we go. This is the honorary proclamation declaring October 2025 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual assault is widespread and impacts every person in Arroyo Grande. And whereas Lumina Alliance provides essential life-saving services for survivors, their children, and families throughout San Luis Obispo County, including Arroyo Grande. And whereas domestic violence can result in physical injury, psychological trauma, and even death. The devastating consequences of domestic violence can cross generations and can last a lifetime. And whereas there is a need to focus on the individualized needs of domestic violence survivors. And whereas the marginalization of certain groups in society, including undocumented individuals, transgender individuals, and those living with disabilities, increases their vulnerability to domestic violence. And whereas Lumina Alliance continues to provide a safe environment to those affected by domestic violence with a 24-hour crisis line, advocacy, therapy, transitional and emergency housing, and prevention education with the help of dedicated volunteers and professionals. And whereas Lumina Alliance has seen a surge in crisis line calls by 33% this year, rising from 2,100 to over 2,800 calls. Housing placements also increased significantly, growing from 170 to 210 individuals served, a 24% increase. Notably, nearly half of those housed were children, with 96 young people finding safe shelter through our programs. And whereas Lumina Alliance serves as a bright light during dark times for survivors of domestic violence, illuminating a path towards safety and healing. And whereas the City of Arroyo Grande supports the efforts of Lumina Alliance, how every segment of our society can work together to address domestic violence and how to help survivors connect with services. Now, therefore, it be resolved that on behalf of Mayor Karen Ray Russum, Mayor of the City of Arroyo Grande, in recognition of the important work done by domestic violence programs, I hereby proclaim October to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Arroyo Grande.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I've been board chair now for 2 years, and I really want to thank you for your support, especially every year. I know that this is given to us, and I can't thank you for the support of the City Council and the City of Arroyo Grande. I'm really proud of the work that our staff has been able to do and volunteers by consolidating all of the shelters under one organization now. So we not only help the people of Arroyo Grande, but the entire county is under one organization. I'm really proud of the work that they've done. This year especially, you heard we have an increase in calls and just services in general. And like everybody, we've been hit with a lot of the federal funding cuts, and so it means a lot just to get the recognition and support of the City Council and the city. So thank you so much. I really appreciate having us here every single year. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you. Okay, we have so many of these that our other people have offered. So the next one, this takes us to item 6B. This is our honorary proclamation recognizing October 13th through 19th, 2025 as Apprenticeship Week in Arroyo Grande. And we have Mr. David Baldwin from the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters. And we have, well, it says Diana Marin from the Workforce Development Board, but I don't see that person. So I'll let you introduce everyone else who's going to come with you to the dais, Mr. Baldwin. And would you please meet Mayor Pro Tem?
Hello. Okay, honorary proclamation recognizing October 13th through 19th, 2025. Oops, sorry. No. Honorary proclamation recognizing October 13th through 19th, 2025 as Apprenticeship Week in Arroyo Grande. Whereas the Workforce Development Board of San Luis Obispo County, the Central Coast Construction Trades, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 639, and Pipe Trades UA Local 403 have partnered to expand apprenticeship opportunities and head of household jobs in the construction trades in the city of Arroyo Grande and San Luis Obispo County. And whereas the advancement and well-being of Arroyo Grande depends upon the continued development of skilled and trained workforce in the building and construction trades, and an ever-growing number of job creators and career seekers are discovering the benefits of an apprenticeship's unique learn while you earn model. And whereas the City of Arroyo Grande recognizes that robust apprenticeship programs provide tangible value to both job creators and apprentices with the potential to increase productivity, improve diversity and inclusion, and reduce recruitment and training costs while providing a pathway to prosperous, high-wage, middle-class careers for job seekers. And whereas San Luis Obispo County Apprenticeship Week is raising awareness of the vital role apprenticeships provide in creating a qualified and highly skilled workforce in the building and construction trades in Arroyo Grande, the county of San Luis Obispo, and across the nation. And whereas in recognition of Slow Apprenticeship Week, the Workforce Development Board of San Luis Obispo County, the Central Coast Construction Trades, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 639, and Pipe Trades UA Local 403 are hosting an apprenticeship forum and job fair on Wednesday, October 15th, 2025 at the Pipe Trades Hall located in San Luis Obispo. Now therefore let it be resolved that I, on behalf of Mayor Karen Ray Russum, Mayor of the City of Arroyo Grande, do hereby recognize Apprenticeship Week in Arroyo Grande from October 13th to the 19th, 2025. Thank you so much. Do you guys want to say something? Sorry, thank you. Thanks very much.
Good evening. I'm David Baldwin. I'm the business manager for Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local 403 in San Luis Obispo. Thank you, Madam Mayor and the council for the proclamation. I think that was the most thorough proclamation I've ever heard. It covered everything, which is awesome. Good job. Kudos to whoever wrote that. The proclamation did mention that tomorrow during the day we have our career fair, which will be at the Plumbers facility in San Luis Obispo, mainly geared towards high school kids, getting the awareness out for folks looking to enter a career in the trades. A number of trades will be there, and then in the evening we have the awards. I hope to see any and all of you there to cheer on our local apprentices who will be recognized tomorrow night. And on that note, I'm really happy to have with me here, it's not my bodyguard. This is Mr. Cody Hunstad, one of AG's own. He attended AG High School, and he's a third-year plumber pipe fitter apprentice, currently working for one of your local firms, McCall MCOR Company. And I'll tell you, it's a real pleasure to get to watch this young man go through this program and watch him build his life and build his skills. And we look at it that way, that we're not just training people on how to work, we're building lives in the process. And Cody's a living example of it. And I don't know if Cody, if you want to say hello to the folks here.
Hello, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. David took care of it all.
Anyway, thanks again, Mayor and Council, and we look forward to seeing you all at the event. I think Corey has some flyers for anybody that might need one, if you want to, if it's permissible to.
Yeah, if we can go through the
pass them
city
out.
clerk, yeah.
Okay, and thanks again. Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll say I've been a vigorous supporter of our local building trades and our unions, and this is one of the many, many reasons why. There's lots of reasons, but this one's a big one, and that is that the apprenticeship program is built into everything that they do, and that is good, solid workforce, head of household jobs at a livable wage. Thank you for what you do for all of our people. All right, and the last one is my pleasure. Well, they're all my pleasure, but we're spreading the pleasure today. This is for item 6C. This is an honorary proclamation recognizing Arroyo Grande in Bloom for its work in earning California the title of a Clean California City. And my champion, Bob Lund, is in the audience. So would you meet me at the podium, sir?
I would also like to call up board members, Kendra Paulding and Tina Storton. David and Judy Hirsch, other fellow board members are not able to be present, but I'd like them to share in the honor.
They look a little surprised. Ladies, welcome. Thank you. All right, this is an honorary proclamation recognizing Arroyo Grande in Bloom for its work in earning Arroyo Grande the title of a Clean California City. Whereas the city of Arroyo Grande has officially earned the designation of a Clean California community through the Caltrans Clean California Initiative, joining only 30 communities across the state out of 483, by the way, to receive this recognition. Whereas the prestigious designation highlights the outstanding leadership and dedication of Arroyo Grande in Bloom, a volunteer-based nonprofit organization committed to beautifying Arroyo Grande by planting flowers and trees, removing litter and brush, maintaining natural resources, and engaging volunteers of all ages, abilities, and talents. Whereas Arroyo Grande in Bloom, with the support of the City of Arroyo Grande and countless community volunteers, has implemented long-term zero litter policies and projects that foster pride, enhance livability, and create a healthier, more welcoming environment for all. And whereas the Clean California Community Designation Program, part of the state of California's $1.2 billion Clean California Initiative launched in 2021, was developed in partnership with Caltrans, Keep America Beautiful, and Keep California Beautiful to clean, reclaim, transform, and beautify public spaces throughout California. And whereas to achieve this recognition, the City of Arroyo Grande, in partnership with Arroyo Grande in Bloom, completed more than 10 rigorous program criteria, including conducting a citywide litter assessment, organizing community cleanups, placing anti-litter infrastructure, creating a long-term sustainability plan, and leading ongoing greening and beautification projects. And whereas this recognition reflects the collective efforts of residents, volunteers, and city leaders who are committed to preserving the beauty, vitality, and spirit of Arroyo Grande. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Karen Ray Russum, Mayor of the City of Arroyo Grande, do hereby recognize Arroyo Grande as a clean California city and recognize the important work done by Arroyo Grande in Bloom to receive this designation. And I'll turn it over to you three fabulous people.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, members of the council, staff. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve Arroyo Grande for the last 19 years. I figure we've put in approximately 20,000 hours over that period of time cleaning and beautifying the city of Arroyo Grande because we take a lot of pride in it. So when Caltrans contacted me and said, would Arroyo Grande like to be a clean California community? I naturally went to our city manager and said, what do you think? And he says, that's a great idea. And I said, would you like to do it? And he says, sure. Would you? And I said, sure. Arroyo Grande and Bloom had already been doing a lot of the criteria, but so had the city. So especially with the help of Bill Robeson, the assistant city manager and public works director, we put together the answer to the Caltrans request for adhering to 10 of the criteria. This brings us a certain amount of state recognition and maybe even national. It also gives us accessibility to certain grant funds if we have certain grant needs. So we will also get city signage. So it's a great honor to be part of this. Thank you. Would you like to?
Bob said it all.
Okay. Thank you.
The city signage be in Caltrans right-of-way? Is that like the kind of thing we'll
It
see
can
on the
be
highway?
Anywhere we want it.
Nice. Thank you so much, all three of you, and all your volunteers for the work that you do on
Thank you.
behalf of the city. All right, Mr. Downing, you can easily follow that one, right?
Certainly. I mean, I like to think that I was a little more eloquent in passing the work back to Mr. Lund and his group. But yes, we are appreciative of all their work and their partnership over the years. 20,000 hours in 19 years is a staggering number. And, you know, we always consider ourselves a community of volunteers, and that's the prime example of that. So thank you to them and everyone who was here tonight to receive a proclamation. So I hope the council and the community have recovered from last night's storm and the nice little emergency notification that we received at about 11:30 last night. I know it kept me from going back to sleep for a while, so we'll see how this goes. So let's talk about Trafficway Bridge. In case you haven't seen it, the bridge deck was poured yesterday before it started to rain, and it really does look like a bridge now. If you go out there and take a look. So that concrete will cure for approximately 1 week, and then the contractors will continue their work. And I'm happy to report that we are still on track to finish that project by the end of the year. So my kudos to our city engineer, Shannon Sweeney. Shannon has 3 questions for their team every week, which are you on schedule? Are you on budget? And is there anything that you can foresee that will answer negatively to either of those in the future? So my hat is off to Shannon and her crew. And then we have several upcoming events in our police department, including the Cops and Kids 30th Annual Field Event on November 2nd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Soto Sports Complex. So we do that every year. It's a very exciting event. And then we will also be having a law enforcement drone training. So that's not a bring your drone to us and we will teach you. That is a law enforcement, refine their skills on their drones. That will be November 3rd through 5th at the Women's Center. So if you are in that neighborhood, you might see a lot of drones and police personnel in that area at that time. That's what that is. Now, over in the Five Cities Fire Authority, we did put out a release last week, and I'm happy to say KSBY picked it up as well. But the Five Cities Fire Authority is working with Public Works crews and other crews to complete a hazardous fuels reduction project at the James Way Habitat Open Space. That began yesterday on Monday, again before the rain started. This is a grant-funded project through the San Luis Obispo County Fire Safe Council, so they are actually funding this work on our behalf. And the work should be completed in the next couple of weeks, so we're getting a lot of that understory brush, that dry brush out of the way in that area. So after that, we're going to move the project to Miller Way and then over to Old Ranch Road to some properties over there. So we're working hard to stay prepared for wildfire because you never know when that's going to happen, and we want to make sure our community is safe. Now, not to be outdone by the public safety components of our community, over in recreation, we have the annual 2-day Halloween Carnival Chaos and Maze. That event is just around the corner. It's a family-friendly celebration that will take place at Elm Street Park on Saturday, October 25th from 3 to 9 p.m. and Sunday, October 27th. That should be Saturday, October 25th, Sunday, October 27th, 26th. I said it twice. It's up there on the screen, 25th and 26th, from 1 to 7 p.m. So attendees can enjoy a variety of fun and spooky activities that include a themed bounce town, not just bounce house, bounce town, a haunted maze, a pumpkin patch, food vendors, costume contests, photo ops, and even a live DJ with festive music. So it is sure to be a frightfully fun weekend for all ages. I thank our Recreation Services Director Bolkin for that little zinger. And then we are also excited to announce that the wait for the Parkside Park play structure is nearly over. So right now you may look out there and say, hey, it's done, but actually the rubberized surface needs to cure a couple more days. But it will reopen with a nice little celebration event on Thursday, October 16th at 4 p.m. So that's very exciting for that neighborhood. And then we are also pleased to announce that we have launched a new online transient occupancy tax, or TOT portal, that's available, pardon the URL, arroyogrande.hdlgov.com. Normally you hear .gov, but this is actually hdlgov.com. You go to that'll bring you to our page in partnership with HDL. This is a user-friendly portal that simplifies tasks such as filing and paying your TOT, and our Administrative Services Department is more than happy to assist anyone that has any questions or any troubles. And then lastly, the South County Sanitary will be offering Cleanup Week in South County the week of October 20th through 24th. So Cleanup Week is a community service program offering free collection of extra trash bags for single-family residential customers, along with discounted scheduled pickup of bulky items and other large items. And so for both single-family and multifamily customers. So you can schedule the big bulky items. So if you have an old couch you need to get rid of, you can schedule that through South County Sanitary, but contact them for more information. And I'd be happy to answer any questions council has.
Thank you. Any questions of the city manager?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So that takes us forward to items 7, city council reports. We do that in the second half of the month, so there's none of those tonight. So item 8 is community comments and suggestions. This is the community's opportunity to come talk to the council about items that are not on tonight's agenda. So as you come forward, please address the council as one body. Confine your comment to 1 minute or less, and well, I guess that's about it. So come on forward if you have items that are not on tonight's agenda.
Another 2-month extension of the shot clock will bring the extension to 671 days. And after that, and that after the city did their due diligence to process Verizon's initial application within the 120-day limit. Verizon could do this much faster if they wanted to. Will they be satisfied when they get their plans approved and permits issued? Would it help if the city staff would fast-track the permitting process? If so, please do that. By all appearances, though, it looks like Verizon is not as urgent about this project as they first appeared in August 2023, when they sought to demonstrate that there is a significant gap in service in our area. Perhaps there is no significant gap at all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carol Cranfield. Good to see you again. And I really want to say thank you to the city and the city council, and specifically Brian Pedrati and Isaac Rosen for all the work they're doing currently. We've been bugging the heck out of them. Anyway, we're going to just want to summarize our concerns that, they've got their site. We understand it fulfills their needs for service coverage. It's our understanding through Brian that Verizon's close to dropping the appeal, and the city attorney is requesting a date from Verizon to finalize it, and we're really anxious to get it done. So it appears we're close. But I'd like to ask the city council, specifically Mayor Russom, do you think there's anything else we can do at this point to move the process along? They've had plenty of time. We want to thank you again, but we would like to see if there's any way they can drop this, since they are so close, before the end of the year. We have the holidays. And we feel it's unacceptable that Verizon continues to take advantage of the city and Sunrise Terrace. Thank you.
Anyone else? And let's check in with the city clerk and see if there's anyone online who would like to make comment on items not on tonight's agenda.
There are no members of the public on Zoom.
All right, so let's bring this back to us, and I'm going to ask staff, and specifically Mr. Rosen. You've got two questions there. One is about the shot clock, and one is about let me see if I can animate this. Is there anything else we can do? And that would be the most fabulous Christmas present to the city of Arroyo Grande if we could get this done before December 25th, not the end of the year. But, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, just a brief update. I mean, the city has heard that the issues between the two parties, between Verizon and St. John's Church, have been resolved with respect to the lease. Certainly, those are two private parties, so the city's oversight of that process is limited. And of course, they already have city entitlements for that site, so they could move forward as soon as that lease is signed. We did ask Verizon, as the public speaker noted, whether they would withdraw the 789 Valley Road application last month, which would of course mean the pending appeal would be moot, so council wouldn't have to take action on that. Verizon did inform us they would withdraw that application once both parties have signed the St. John's lease. And so we are continuing to stay in touch and try to see what the progress on that is. With respect to whether there's anything for the city or the members of the public to do, we're monitoring the situation in the hopes that, as the speaker articulated, that the lease with all issues resolved means that they will voluntarily withdraw the 789 Valley Road application, which again would mean the city would not have to either hear the appeal of the Planning Commission's decision denying that application, and alternatively would mean that Verizon would not get a deemed complete application by which that 789 Valley Road application was deemed approved because of federal law.
So is there anything else we can do?
I think the city and Director Pedrati continues to follow up with Verizon in the hopes they will voluntarily withdraw that application and try again to just emphasize again the adverse impact on our community and the feedback we're hearing in the city.
I'm hearing that answer is no, but you're carefully trying to not say no, maybe?
I do want to be mindful, certainly we do have a pending appeal. If council ultimately had to hear that appeal, we would just want to be cognizant that that is still an action item. The tolling agreement in effect ensures that the application's not deemed approved and the council doesn't have to yet hear the appeal. If the alternative lease is executed by both parties, the issue becomes moot, and so the city's doing everything it can to try to ensure that occurs and the application is voluntarily withdrawn.
Mr. Downing?
Currently, no. We have sent them, Verizon, a very, what I would call a strongly worded note saying, do you understand what this is doing to the community of Sunrise Terrace? Please withdraw this application so that we can all move on. But we are waiting on that.
Have they given any indication, Brian, or any of you, when they expect those signatures to be notarized, finalized, whatever that answer is?
Brian Pedrati, Community Development Director. No, not a specific date, but we just hear they're close.
Okay. All right. No. Thank you so much. All right, so for public comment, thank you very much. So I don't know if I actually said the words "I'll close public comment," but it is closed. So item 9, now we're moving forward to the consent agenda. So the consent agenda is collectively items that are tonight labeled 9A through 9J. So if you would like to, or first of all, let's ask the council if they have anything that they would like to ask a question on or have pulled for separate consideration. Anything? Anything? All right, so then we'll open up public comment on items 9A through 9J. So if you'd like to comment on any of the items that begin with number 9, now would be the time. All right, seeing no one here, again, let's see if anybody joined us online.
There are no members of the public on Zoom.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll close public comment on items 9 collectively and see if the council would like to take action.
I'll move approval of items 9A through 9J.
I'll second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Guthrie?
Yes.
Councilmember Marvelia?
Yes.
Councilmember Lowe?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seacrest?
Yes.
Mayor Ray Russom?
Yes. Item 10A is amendments to Title 16 of Arroyo Grande Municipal Code regarding urban lot splits and 2-unit developments, and I will immediately turn it over to our city attorney for a hot off the presses announcement.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, it's true. I did want to note at the start of this item that we had some late-breaking new state law that was signed by the governor actually on Friday, and that impacts the ordinance that's in front of you this evening. So that was signed, a series of housing bills were signed after our agenda went live on Thursday. So the purpose of tonight's item, the city's amending its underlying SB 9 ordinance, that's ministerial housing that's created via what's known as an urban lot split or a 2-unit project that's also ministerial. And tonight's changes were based on previously adopted state law and specifically a bill called SB 450 that took effect on January 1st of this year. So this past Friday, after our agenda was published, the governor signed 5 housing bills that impact the standards for tonight's item and require some additional municipal code amendments. So that includes a new bill, AB 1601, that changes ministerial approval for these urban lot splits and 2-unit projects when there are relevant historical resources at issue as defined. And the governor also signed 4 new ADU and JADU bills. And as many on the council is probably aware, when there are new ADU and JDU bills, which has been happening almost annually recently, it also requires the city to revise its ADU standards to be consistent with state law. So all of that said, some of the new bills that our office is digging into will have impacts on this ordinance, both relative, again, to historic resources for SB 9 projects and relative to ADU regulations. There are some new changes to the configuration of ADUs on single-family lots, and that's also relevant to tonight's agenda item. So all that is to say, in consultation with our city manager and Director Pedrati, we are recommending tonight that the council hold the public hearing, provide feedback, and we're here to answer questions. But since we'll need to make additional municipal code changes, we would actually revise this ordinance after tonight's item and bring it forward for a new first reading to the council. So with that, I will turn it over to Director Pedrati to provide the staff presentation, and I am, of course, also available to answer questions.
Good evening. Mayor and council members, Brian Pedrati, Community Development Director. So as Mr. Rosen said, we have the amendments to Title 16 regarding urban lot splits and 2-unit developments, also known as SB 9 developments. Originally effective on January 1st of 2022, SB 9 essentially requires local governments to ministerially approve two types of projects to promote housing creation. One is the urban lot split, which allows single-family zone lot to be divided into two lots. And the other is the two-unit project, which allows construction of up to 2 units on each new parcel. And the City Council adopted ordinance number 716 in 2022 to implement SB 9. Senate Bill 450 became effective on January 1st, 2025, which revised SB 9 to further limit cities' ability to have objective design standards specific to SB 9 development. The proposed amendments that are before you therefore remove the objective design standards that were specific to SB 9 developments from the municipal code. All other citywide objective design standards for single-family zoning remain. So those include height, setbacks, floor area ratios, lot coverage, things like that. SB 450 also prohibits standards for urban lot splits not related to parcel size or access, and also establishes a 60-day processing shot clock. So as Mr. Rosen has stated earlier, SB 450 prohibits design standards not uniformly applicable to to single-family zones. The proposed amendment repeals the existing standards. The existing underlying development standards, again, still apply, but they cannot preclude 2 units up to 800 square foot each. And I apologize, the reference in the staff report could have been a little more clear, but you cannot have SB 9 specific standards under state law now, but you can have objective design standards that apply uniformly to the underlying single-family zone. So under state law, if a lot was created by an urban lot split, the city can limit the property to only 2 units of any type, which is the 2-unit project, ADUs or JADUs. However, if the lot was not created by an urban lot split and the applicant just does a 2-unit project, the property owner can do the 2-unit project and add ADUs and JADUs as allowed by state law. There's also a distinction in the ordinance, in our local ordinance, between lots greater than 10,000 square feet and lots less than 10,000 square feet. And this was meant to allow an additional unit for larger units, but we'll be revisiting this particular part as part of the new legislation and the new look at unit configuration. For urban lot splits, the city is limited to regulating standards for essentially lot dimensions and access. We also had a concurrent building permit application that was originally added. That's no longer required because it was specific to urban lot splits and therefore is inconsistent with state law. So as noted before the presentation, as a result of the state law changes applicable to SB 9 and ADUs and JADUs signed by the governor late last week, we're recommending the council consider this as a discussion item, and we can do additional cleanup to the unit configuration section of the draft ordinance. And you're available for any questions.
All right, let's check in with the council. To my right, any questions? To my left? All right, I'm gonna shoot off a couple of them to you guys. So first of all, I had significant questions prior to the meeting that I got answered. So I'm gonna limit mine now to what I think I understand of the email that I was provided this afternoon. So thank you for clarifying the SB 9 specific standards part. I'm still slightly confused about the setback part. My question is, I understand that we can't take away somebody's right to build under SB 9, but my question is, if we have objective design standards that include setbacks as part of that, then do they just go out the window and a person can say, look, I want a 0 lot line here because that's what I desire? Or is it something that we have some discretion over to what degree we bend on that. And I'm thinking specifically about impact to neighbors and things like that, that the way the staff report is written, it sounds like, well, no, you have zero that you can do about that. But I'm just trying to thread the needle as to where can we have problems with this based on the wording here, so that we don't end up with a problem so that we can't do anything about that. I guess I didn't really ask that question clearly. So my question is, if you could accommodate the 800 square feet as stated in the staff report by a 3-foot lot line, do we have to approve a 0 lot line because it now disappears?
I can take that. So, no, the 4-foot side and rear setbacks are required by state law. However, the state law also identifies that if those requirements don't allow at least 2 800 square foot units, a 2-unit development, then those potentially can be waived. I think the other portion of that is existing structures. So existing structures can be within those setbacks as well. But in terms of the overall requirements, city requirements cannot be onerous enough that you can't provide 2 800 square foot units.
So essentially, if a property owner is looking to develop under the 2-unit development, they would have to actually demonstrate that, hey, by complying with the 4-foot rear and side yard setback requirements, I only get 1 800 square foot unit and 1 600 square foot unit. That doesn't then mean that everything's out the window. Then community development staff actually works with the applicant to say, okay, well, how far do we need to adjust these things? Do they need to go down to 3 feet on each? In which case, then you get that extra space that you need in order to hit 800. So it doesn't just carte blanche, waive those requirements. Then it becomes an more iterative process.
So if I'm gonna say, okay, well, I know I can get it at 3.5 feet, but what I really desire is between the buildings, I want this much. Do we get to, I don't wanna say stand our ground, but say no, that the ordinance doesn't say you get to do whatever you want now. It just says we need to be able to accommodate the 800 square foot structure. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
They would have to demonstrate that.
Thank you. And then I got my question answered about the unit size, which is kind of where we just were, but I'm still a little bit confused by the unit configuration answer. So first of all, I'm going to go back to what I thought the city council did a while back, which was we didn't allow JADUs. And so did we make a change from that? Because I remember the planning commission recommending that we do the JADUs and the council overriding that.
Right, so the allowance under the SB 9 ordinance would allow, under current, would allow 2 units for a urban lot split. For a 2-unit development, it would allow 2 units if you're below 10,000 square feet, or 3 units if you're over 10,000 square feet. And that's where it was 2 units plus an ADU. And there was no additional allowance for a JADU, and that was based on the city's direction. But I think that, and maybe Mr. Rosen can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's potentially changed with the new Senate bill that has gone through. And there might be additional allowances for JADUs in addition to what is allowed under our ordinance.
Before we go there, can you define a 2-unit development?
Yes. It's
Because it wasn't there and I'm confused by what a 2-unit development is in relationship to an ADU.
So a 2-unit development is any 2 units in any configuration. So it can be 2 primaries, it can be 1 primary and 1 ADU, it could be a primary and a JADU. And so those can be put on either a single-family zoned lot or one that has gone through the urban lot split. So you have a new urban lot split lot. Either way, they're allowed on a single-family lot.
So if someone wanted to come forward, do their urban lot split, SB9, the whole thing, and then build 2 units, that's literally 2 houses.
Correct.
And then an ADU and a JADU.
Potentially.
So we can get 4?
Mayor and council, potentially you could get up to 4. However, if an applicant does an urban lot split where they subdivide the property first, then the applicant's limited to 2 units of any kind. So it could be a primary dwelling in an ADU or a primary dwelling in a JADU. That restriction does not exist just for this other ministerial process for the 2-unit project. The other note I wanted to provide the council is JADUs are mandatory under state law for single-family residents. So there is the possibility, since this ordinance only applies to single-family residents, that under state law someone could create a unit, a junior accessory dwelling unit that was within the footprint of the primary dwelling.
So that would only go to 3 then?
Potentially, but ADU law, which continues to evolve, says in certain instances, a single-family lot could take advantage of this 2-unit process and create not only 2 dwelling units, but a JADU that's within one of those dwelling units and an attached or detached ADU, so 4 units.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, if you don't do the lot split, you can go up to 4. And Matt is, okay, and if you do the lot split, you're essentially ending up with 4 anyway. That you can sell separately is really the operative action, is that right, Mr. Downing?
Well, and I think that's, so obviously we're talking about 2 things at the same time, but they are 2 separate, what I'll call state laws, just for the purposes of the discussion. But essentially, yes, you're right. And this has evolved over time, as Mr. Rosen and Mr. Pedrati have said, because the state has continued to see cities put up restrictions and roadblocks and try to prohibit certain things. And they're coming in saying, well, no, that you're doing the exact thing that we were trying to get you to not to do. And so we could end up with even more as these laws keep changing. And that's one of the reasons why we did change our recommendation for you this evening, is because in trying to answer some of your questions, Mayor, we started looking at the new law going, this is now just soup. And so we need to sort that out.
I found the soup in here already. So I would like to, well, it's comments. I'll wait. Yes, please.
No, actually, I thought I understood this from way back in planning commission. So let's just go through the mechanics. 7,500 square foot lot, you split it, let's make it 8,000 square feet to make the math easy. You split it into 4,000 square foot lots. You can put 2 homes on each lot. So there's 4 homes before you even get it into ADUs. Correct. Is that correct? So that's what 2 homes. So my question is, it probably in that situation, so you definitely have to have enough room to do 2 800 square foot, so 200. So can we require so let's say that they want to do 2 single level 800 square foot homes, and let's make it a much smaller lot and there's not room. Can we tell them, no, you have to make it a 2-story and split it that way?
There are, Councilmember Guthrie, there are certain limits, I think, as Director Pedrati noted. Objective standards have to give way to 2 at least 800 square foot units. And I think, I know this lawyerly answer is annoying when it depends. I would just say it's going to depend on the configuration of the units, because there are also certain carve-outs under state ADU and JADU laws that give additional carve-outs. So you may be able to build up, you may be able to do things that are separate from the underlying zoning, depending on whether the SB9 project also includes ADUs or JADUs.
Okay, so I was actually so let's forget the JADUs and ADUs. Can we require that if they're gonna do two 800 square foot, that we can require that one's on the second story and one's on the first floor? In other words, we can't say, okay, you can do a 0 lot line because you wanna do 2 single-story homes and put them right on the lot line.
I don't want to say definitively we could do that. I think it would be a project-specific look at the lot to determine sort of the amount of city's discretion, which is limited, of course, because these are ministerial approvals. So I would hate to give an answer.
Why don't you give it to us on the continued, at the continued?
Yeah, I think to note what City Manager Downing also noted, I think the ordinance and the description of unit configuration was meant to provide more clarity, whereas it seems clear from the questions it was more confusing. And with the new state laws, I think this city and our team has a ability to make it a little more clear for the council, since we have to make modifications anyways.
Thank you. I just have one request, maybe when it comes back. I'm a bit of a visual person, and it might help members of the public too if there were some just simplified graphics that could be used to help tell the story.
That is exactly what the comment that I was holding back was. I think we need visual representations of all of this, so that will be very, very helpful. Thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, let's go ahead and open up public comment. Would anyone like to come forward on item 10A? And seeing no one, we'll check in and see if people have joined us online.
There are no members of the public on Zoom.
All right, thank you. So we'll bring close public comment and bring this back to the council. And of course, this is just almost a give direction, and we need to make a motion, right, to continue? All right. Do you feel that you've had enough, just first asking staff, do you have enough direction in how to move forward and bring it back to us?
Yes.
With copious amounts of visuals?
Lots of graphics.
Okay, good.
Understood.
And Mayor, just to clarify, no motion necessary, since this is a zone text amendment. We'll first bring the revised version to Planning Commission, and with council's input and the additional changes, and then it will come back for an additional first reading in the coming months.
So you do not need a motion?
Correct.
All right, sounds good. Okay, well then, we will move forward then. The next item is our business item tonight. This is a tourism marketing report for fiscal year 24-25. So I assume we'll have Director Bolkin coming from behind the curtain. And I will be stepping down from this just because I found it difficult to separate my, even though I'm allowed to vote on this, I found it difficult to separate myself from being someone who pays into this. So I'm going to be stepping down and I'm going to exit the meeting. So Mayor Pro Tem, I will turn the entire meeting over to you. And if anything fun comes out of council communications, I look forward to hearing about that. But otherwise, if you would give me a chance to get off the dais, I would appreciate it. And we'll see you all in a couple of weeks.
So awesome. Okay, so it looks like we're on item 11. And Director Bolkin, you have a presentation?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Of course you do. Thank you. Could we?
So good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. My name is Sheridan Bolkin. I'm the Director of Recreation Services and Staff Liaison to the Arroyo Grande Tourism Business Improvement District, or fondly known as AGTBID. This report highlights the progress of our marketing efforts to promote Arroyo Grande as a destination, support our local lodging partners, and drive economic vitality through tourism. As mentioned, tonight's marketing report is a synopsis of the efforts that have occurred in fiscal year 24-25. This report evaluates how assessment funds were utilized to drive visitation, measure campaign performance, and demonstrate return on investment for Arroyo Grande's tourism promotion efforts. For reference, the assessment report, which will come before your council in spring, fulfills the city's legal and financial reporting requirements under the Arroyo Grande Municipal Code, as well as the California Streets and Highway Code, detailing boundaries, assessment collections, and fiscal compliance. Over the past year, AGT Bid has completed a wide range of marketing initiatives designed to enhance visibility and engagement, including hiring Commune Communication as the marketing agency of record. These efforts have resulted in increased website visitation, engagements through social media, increased reach through paid media as well. And with that, I would like to introduce Richardson Reigart with Commune Communication to present the full report.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me share some of the exciting things we did last year in marketing. Thank you, Sheridan. So I'll take you through some of the highlights. I know you have the annual report, but this hits on some of the high points, and I'm also happy to take any questions once we get through some of these slides. Starting with, double clicked, it's going two at a time. Okay. So obviously our goal is to attract new visitors from our top feeder markets. We want to increase Arroyo Grande's share of overnight stays within the broader SLO County region. And this is an artful way of saying, we need to ignite a spark that makes people want to visit our area and give them a clear reason to choose us over the other options available. It's kind of two-pronged. We want to build a lot of awareness for Arroyo Grande, make people feel like this is a place that they want to go. But we're also blessed to be in this region where there's so many other destinations that people can choose. So we need to really make ourselves distinctive, have a clear voice and a clear proposition for AG relative to the other destinations that people might choose. So our strategy from both a communication standpoint, a messaging standpoint, as well as a media standpoint, is to really make that clear for folks. So the plan this year really focuses on paid media outreach that's optimized towards driving visitation. So there's a lot of new metrics that we introduced this year around location visitation reporting that help us track how our advertising is actually driving people to specific destinations within the city, as well as our hotel partners. In addition, we want to bring people here who are going to share their experiences as much as possible so that we're building that advocacy and we get into people's news feeds. So that's been a big part of what we were trying to move towards, maybe from where we were before, just relying on paid media. With that, we did see a significant shift from fiscal year 2024 to fiscal year 2025. Maybe reprioritizing our integrated marketing budget more towards paid tactics because we feel it's really important that we reach a broader community, a broader audience, and make them aware of AG, to make them understand what makes AG special, why they should visit here. A lot of maybe the tactics before, we're a little bit speaking to ourselves. So we've reprioritized, we have limited budget, we're a smaller city, we want to prioritize tactics that are going to bring in new people or repeat visits to Arroyo Grande to stay, to drive those overnight stays. But to also mentioning, we have ramped up our organic social, reintroduced the e-newsletter, and introduced a blog. So those more organic tactics are definitely still part of our mix. Similarly, we have kind of a twofold approach. We've historically, we looked at location visitation data historically for the different markets that drive visitation to the area. And we have high volume from places like LA and San Francisco, but the per capita visitation is relatively low. So there's growth opportunity there that we want to make sure we're capitalizing on. We've historically received high per capita visitation from places like the Central Valley. So we want to continue to nurture those markets, but you'll see we've increasingly moved to try to increase our impression levels in those larger growth markets because we feel like that's where the bigger unlock will come from in terms of increased visitation. So I'll take you through some of the initiatives we completed this year. We did a lot of stuff. One of those was to do a lot of co-op advertising and direct advertising in print and travel publications, including Sunset Magazine, co-op opportunities in the California 101 Visitors Guide, highlighting some of our dining diversity and our global kind of dining options within Edible Magazine. So a good cross-section within those printed publications to help build awareness of Arroyo Grande when people are visiting the area. Keeps going two at a time. One other fun thing that we did was we did kind of, one, to maybe save a little money, but also to lend a level of authenticity to our marketing, was to really recruit local residents. We got a great response through this sort of organic social casting call of getting folks to participate in some of our paid media assets and be really the talent of some of the advertising that we were creating. We did, as I said, relaunch the blog content so that we have these kind of deeper dives and itineraries that are tied to different passion areas of our audience. That was a big thing we wanted to do, was not just talk about what makes AG great, but show how it aligns with things that people might be passionate about, whether that's dining, music, the weather. We've used the blog to really go deeper on some of those things and give people detailed itineraries of how they can experience those things in AG. And that has helped feed, an enhanced social presence. So a lot of those topics that we lean into, along with the sort of events and things that are happening in the area, have helped us flesh out the organic social content. We're posting 18 to 20 pieces of organic content a month to really revitalize our social presence. One other fun thing is we're featured, the Swinging Bridge is featured on the Monopoly game board that's distributed through a lot of, it's online, but also through a lot of local retailers. So we're present when people are kind of experiencing AG through this game. AG is a part of it. Influencer partnerships. We did one with CCTC, California Gold Pass. We also enhanced all of our assets, our content assets. So we have a really good library now. This was originally part of the Time Well Spent campaign, but we're still utilizing a lot of this photography and video within the campaigns that we're doing today. There was also a partnership with Visit SlowCal. You might have seen this video series that they're doing called Unpacking, where they have people with their suitcase and kind of having surprise experiences within SlowCal, Slow County. And we were featured with Lopez Lake and Halcyon Farms as part of this one video, which was a great piece of content that we used across our social channels. Even things like the bridge construction, which we know has been an issue for a lot of folks. We used our social outlets, our newsletter, to really keep people informed of what was going on and to make sure that people visiting the area knew that these retailers were open during bridge construction. So really being a resource to those businesses that were impacted and making sure that they got their attention and that people still knew that they were open for business. We also helped bring some holiday cheer and atmosphere to the city, supporting Santa's Magical Village and the Christmas lights in the village that really helped create that ambiance during last holiday season. And as you probably know, we've been experimenting more with out-of-home, with fixed billboards. We felt this was something that we needed to test and start to experiment with. To help build that awareness. We have so many people every year driving the 101 and maybe not realizing we were even here. I know that I have friends who've had that experience. When I told them about Arroyo Grande, they're like, where is that? And it's like, you've driven by it, you just didn't know. So this was one tactic in addition to all the digital marketing that we're doing to help build that sort of physical presence and make sure we were recognized as folks drove by. We've looked at preliminary numbers on the location visitation reporting, and it appears to be effective. And we are launching a new billboard this month, which will then be permed out for the coming year. The original board, that was sort of that split board, we decided not to continue because we didn't feel like it had the highest visibility. So it's an ongoing process of optimization. The inventory for these boards is very low, so we kind of have to grab the ones that we can get when they come open. And we're continually kind of looking at the market and seeing when something new comes available, if we can jump on it. Also, in the spirit of sort of optimization and trying to get better all the time, we launched a campaign earlier in the year, and we started to want to test how it might do against other types of messaging. So we did 3 different concepts. We ran them in social media and used data to really tell us which was the most effective. So we did this sort of ABC test of the 3 campaigns. We ended up with one that's called That's Arroyo Grande, which we felt, we brought in the positive elements maybe of the other campaigns that were working, but this was the one that, undoubtedly had the highest results. So really use not just our subjective opinion, but data to inform what we should move forward with. And that led to the campaign That's Arroyo Grande, which we have now fleshed out with video assets, photo assets, social media, a new billboard that'll be launching. So the new website is now branded That's Arroyo Grande. So I invite you to check all of those assets out. We feel it really gives a new kind of fresh perspective on AG and really aligns with our strategy of kind of tapping into that unspoken ephemeral quality that the city has that was, difficult to articulate, but we feel like we've captured it with this campaign. So we invite you to check out that campaign. We're pretty excited about it. There's a whole host of other things, including hiring, commune communication, most importantly, a lot of FAM events that we've participated in. We've brought journalists to town, lots of partnerships with Visit SlowCal, so a whole host of additional sort of activities that maybe flew below the radar, but a lot of things that we've been active in to help bring more attention and activity to the city. And then getting into results, as I discussed, there is a lot of new data that's really specific to AG with respect to location visitation reporting. We've established our own benchmarks, so having this first year of activity under our belt will really help us moving into the next fiscal to see how we're doing against last year's activity and optimize against some really strong benchmarks. In addition, obviously the most important thing is how we've done in terms of bringing in additional TOT. So at the highest level, obviously the most important thing is our TOT results. We did see an increase in TOT revenue year over year. So we felt pretty happy about that. There were a lot of tourism challenges happening in particularly the beginning of 2025, but we've still been able to maintain and grow our TOT revenue, which is great. Some other metrics, obviously the graphic on the right describes LVR and process and how that works, which I'm happy to take you through if there's additional questions on it. It's a little complicated and technical, but essentially it allows us to track people who have been exposed to our digital advertising or an out-of-home advertisement, track their activity to specific destinations that we've polygoned around the city, as well as to our website. And that data is how we really optimize our campaigns. But in addition to that, we have seen an increase in click-through rate over the course of our engagement, growth in Instagram followers. We've really built TikTok for the first time, so a huge, 1,000 followers is really giving us a foundation on TikTok as well. In terms of benchmarks, so I will say before we get into benchmarks, we will now use the middle column as our fiscal year 25-26 benchmarks. Because a lot of this data didn't really exist before, we used our initial report as the benchmark moving forward, which has been great. I mean, we've seen tremendous improvement in cost per exposed unique visitor from our initial report, cost per exposed visit, so that our marketing has become increasingly more efficient at driving visitation to the city and to our hotel partners. In addition to that, click-through rate has improved. It's not a huge metric for us because what we ultimately care about is getting folks here to town, but that has improved as well. Soft conversion rate I'll describe, given that we don't close the booking sale on the Visit Arroyo Grande website. This is someone visiting a landing page or hitting a book now button on one of our partners or a short-term rental partner. So that allows us to see of all the people who came to the site, how many are moving down into that booking kind of user flow. So we've improved that tremendously. That was before we launched the new website, so the new website is even more engineered to driving people into that booking user flow. So we expect to see those numbers improve even more moving forward. The one metric that we want to move in the next fiscal year is we track visits to the village and we track hotel visits as a percentage of that. And I will just say we have not improved on the percent of people who are visiting the hotels versus the village as a whole. So we are very hyper focused on how can we convert more people to overnight stays, not just coming to town, but and we've done that already through very much more direct messaging around overnight stays, media tactics that will are designed to kind of retarget people to bring them back so that they will book an overnight stay, as well as a lot of new sponsorship opportunities that we feel will create more shareable moments that get people to kind of advocate for us and maybe bring in a broader audience. So advocacy will start playing into that as well. So moving forward, you will see the middle column, that will be our benchmark. We will measure success moving forward based on that. We may not see the dramatic improvements on benchmarks moving forward because we're going on a full year's data now. And in a way that'll make these more useful because we'll be able to say, look, we're not beating last year. And what can we do to help improve that? In terms of media efficiency, this kind of speaks to that point. We originally started the LVR reporting in November. And the cost per visit at that point was over $60, close to $80. So a very, not necessarily, it's still probably a decent return on investment in terms of total economic activity per visitor, but higher than we would like it to be. You can see as we get into like June, we're getting to a $7 cost per visit. So that's a pretty good return on ad spend. We feel, someone buying some potato chips, something in town, it already kind of pays for itself. So this will even, as the more we're in market, the more this goes down. So that's great news. It's showing that the marketing investment is actually paying off. And to that point, there's a dynamic here of sort of when we run advertising and the impression levels that we have and how that correlates to TOT. There's a couple of interesting things. In November, we obviously ramped up our marketing because we were trying to build a data set. And we did see a growth in TOT revenue leading into December. First of the year, both impressions and TOT, there's seasonality involved there, so it kind of drops. As we we tend to ramp up leading into the high season and actually decrease our impressions during high season because it's kind of a 30-day cycle. We want to have a lot of exposure before people are starting to book 30 days out and so forth. So that seems to have been effective. If you look at April, that was when we had more impressions in market. And then as we got to high season, we saw another peak in total TOT revenue. So those seasonal dynamics in TOT are going to happen year over year, but we like to see if our impression and sort of our media weight is properly correlated to driving those dynamics and incrementally. Is this where we take questions?
This is where we take questions. You're absolutely right.
Thank you so much. Questions from council? Councilperson Marvelia?
I just had one question, I think. In the report, it mentioned that there was opportunities to allow us to build in growth markets, that you guys were kind of looking towards those things. Do you have ideas for what those opportunities would be?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously we can shift our impressions more there, which we already have started to do. So we have heavier just digital impression weight in those markets. There's messaging, how can we message more specifically to the mindset of someone in an urban area and seeing this as an escape or a way to work home away from home, so your weekday office escape. So there's the messaging piece as well as the media weight piece. We did look at things like out of home that are more specifically in San Francisco and LA. With our budgets, it's just not efficient because there's so much waste built in. If you put a billboard up in Los Angeles, it's like, that's not people who are in our market yet. So any of those tactics just kind of felt like they were maybe not the priority for us. So we're mainly managing that through impression weight and messaging.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Councilperson Lowe?
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation and all your work. This is great. I have two questions. One is related to hotels and capacity. So I understand on the slide where you said the correlation is lower than you'd like it to be for,
Yeah.
what would you call day trips versus overnight trips? Is that part of it? And my question around that is about the hotel capacity. Are you tracking, are the hotels at capacity, or is there a lot of, what's the vacancy rate, or is there greater capacity for new hotels, which would kind of bring everything up?
Some of that is anecdotal for us in terms of the information that we get. We'll hear from Sean at the Agrarian that like, oh, we haven't booked up for Labor Day yet. And in that case, we ramped up our impressions leading into Labor Day to see if we could get some more activity. Generally, it seems like that's my impression from what I've heard is that in the high season, we're pretty good. Weekdays are tougher. And then in lower season, when the off season, we have to help out a little bit more. But we also know that, we don't want to be even in our impression delivery all year round, because then we miss opportunities and the ability to kind of lead up to the high season. So from what I understand, there is capacity for the most part, except maybe, obviously summer weekends and times like that.
And then my other question is about kind of activity orientations, or how, when we talk about the, all the things that are great about Rio Grande, are there also surveys or anything that try to characterize what kinds of things people took advantage of while they were here? What types of specific activities that maybe if there was more of something, maybe that would bring us, a crowd or something. Do you know any about that?
We haven't done any specific research relative to Arroyo Grande and the activities that people participated in while they were here, although that is possible. It's something we could try to do. We did, when we built the initial strategy, we looked at more broad cultural trends in terms of what drives travel behavior these days, and whether it was wellness or music or people wanting to go places where their favorite movie was shot. Like, there's a lot of things that are maybe unconventional or non-traditional in the way that people are kind of finding new places to travel. So that informed some of the messaging and the strategy that we kind of outlined when we initially were engaged. So we want to do more of that. We've got some ideas around music festivals and film festivals and things that we can do to tap into some of those passion areas. And I think that's and surround that with like influencers who are in those spaces. So that's definitely something that we're looking to do in this fiscal a lot more. I think the first year was kind of laying our foundation, getting the measurement set up, getting the website rebuilt, getting the whole process sorted out. So we feel like we're in a really good place to even accelerate things moving into the new year.
Councilperson Guthrie?
Sure. So when you talk about, you've talked to Sean, but in general, are you getting participation from the hotels who are telling you what they're seeing? For instance, I mean, they can certainly see on their websites, their booking engines, where their referrals are coming from. Do you have any kind of program to get that kind of feedback from them? And have you had any success with it?
We certainly have reached out to try to get more of that feedback, and when there also might be ebbs and flows of occupancy that we can help with from a messaging standpoint. We even develop some collateral that they might be able to use within their hotel to kind of drive weekday stays. Some hotels participate more than others in the communication. I think it's the most polite way to say it. So not a ton of direct feedback, probably more anecdotal. We would embrace more feedback and more ways that we can help the hotels.
Are you familiar with at least used to be called the Star Report, where you can look? So, and do you guys use that for when you're talking about capacity, for instance, about
Yeah,
what
it's
what
more
potential there is out
historical.
there?
What we would love is like more of a projection so that people, so that we can act on it. So it's one thing for us to look back and see maybe where the trends were, but it would be helpful if there was more understanding in the future of what the needs were so that we could, respond to them.
I'll just say it doesn't
Yeah.
usually change that much year to year, but.
Yeah.
When you put up the deal on TOT and how they were tracking together, was that changed in TOT over prior year or just total TOT?
No, that's just TOT
So-
revenue by month.
So that was the normal
Those are the
seasonal
normal
bump we
seasonal
saw there.
spikes, yeah.
Okay. And then I struggle with this every time. So again, what is an exposed? Because every time I think I've got it, then
I know.
I don't get.
We've introduced all this new data, and it's sometimes hard to keep track of and how we're using it. So someone's mobile device, we, in an anonymized way, can track behavior. So someone who has been exposed means they've seen our advertising. So in the case, the maybe complicated one is the out-of-home billboard. So we have a longitude and latitude of that billboard. It's not just everyone who drove by, it's people who drove by and then we retargeted them with a digital ad, whether that's a video, a banner ad, something that they experienced on their mobile device or on their desktop. So now we would consider that an exposed person. So and exposed to the billboard. So that's like a multiplier essentially. So when those people go to a place that we have polygoned in the city of Arroyo Grande, then we track that visit is attributed to that exposure.
Okay, so when you have 20,000 people driving by your billboard, you are not necessarily targeting every single one of
20,000.
them.
Yeah.
How do you pick the ones you do target? Or is it random?
It's based on the demographic profiles that we've set up, the audience profiles of people who we're trying to reach. So in that case, they would likely be someone who was from LA or San Francisco, who is within the age income bracket that we've defined. And we only have so many impressions. So some of it's not by choice, it's just, we had inventory and we're able to serve to that person without blowing our whole budget. In a sense. It's just like any digital ad. We're hitting a sample of all the people.
And then you have a significant number of people who are in the village, many of whom are local, but can you differentiate between someone who's in the village who is local based on their cell phone from?
Most likely they wouldn't be exposed because they're not within our geographic segment. So we're explicitly not targeting people who live here, which is also why people don't see the ads.
So if I'm coming from San Francisco and I come into the village,
Yeah.
would you know that was me, that I was from San Francisco, and could identify me and expose me right there?
You individually probably not, because I believe we've identified your mobile device ID as not being a San Francisco mobile device.
I'm a San Francisco resident.
Oh, you are, yes. Okay, then in your case,
in
yes.
In my example, I'm a San Francisco resident. I have a San Francisco zip or not area code.
Yes, in that case, you would be, you as an, but we don't think the incidence of that is high enough that it's a major issue with the reporting. But yes, if you lived in if you were based in San Francisco and you came by the billboard and we got an ad to you and then you came to the Agrarian, we would track that as a visit.
And you're tracking people in somewhat who see your billboard. Do you ever just identify people in the village who are already here and say, hey, we have hotels? Or do you just figure that's too late?
There is retargeting within our buy, so people who have been exposed will be exposed again and potentially with an additional message, yes.
All right, thank you.
So I don't have any questions. Are we going to comments or are we going to public? Okay. If anyone would like to comment on the presentation we just had?
Good evening.
Hi.
So I was just looking at your website while you were talking. I probably should have been paying attention. But I noticed that you don't have any of the parks in there, and maybe I missed it. And I also noticed that you don't have anything with our, the historical barn over here. I know you have some parks in there. I didn't see Strother Park. I didn't see the Rancho Grande Park. I don't know if that's something that should be in there. And otherwise, it's pretty glossy. Your website is pretty nice to look at. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments from the audience? Not seeing anyone, so Madam Clerk, do we have anyone online?
There are no members of the public on Zoom.
Thank you. So we just go to comment? Okay, council folks, comments? Sure.
Well, I say, as you know, I'm pretty concerned about about conversions. I will say that I'm not as concerned maybe as you sound like you are over people kind of the number of people who end up in the village that were exposed to us. In my mind, that's a potential guest in the future, and particularly re-exposing them at some point just seems like a slam dunk to me. That if they come into the village and they don't like the village, they're never going to be a guest. But if they did like the village, the potential that they would then say, oh, this is a possible place to stay rather than Pismo Beach. So that's why I was always pushing that we're able to make the village work as well. Yeah, because I still struggle. I understand that that's it still just doesn't feel like we're getting enough conversion to me to really justify the total spend that we have. But certainly, this being able to track it directly is a real plus, and I'm definitely interested in seeing how it goes in the future.
Comment?
Yeah, I did. Thank you for this presentation. It was really thorough and really, a lot of information to give. Also, I checked out the website. I think it looks really good. Saw a little bit of accessibility issues. Sorry, man, I have to bring it up. But other than that, I thought that it really showcased the city very well in a very vibrant way. So thank you for that. I was thinking a lot, like, reading through this of, like, messaging, just in terms of, where we're pulling people from and how we're pulling them. And just, what's going to make someone stay in Arroyo Grande rather than Pismo or something like that, because that's really what we're looking at, I think, for the most part in South County. And I really think it's cost and affordability of staying in the area. It may be getting away from, like, chaos, which I think Pismo is pure chaos, so maybe there's something to that too. But it's true. I stay away from it during the high season. But I'm wondering if there's something there with just pulling. We don't have very many high-end hotels in Arroyo Grande. So looking at that audience, we're looking at people that are in more of a middle class, mid-range anyway. So really having some sort of messaging towards the affordability might be something to think about or explore a little further, especially when we're looking at the economy right now and just the way things are going. So I just wanted to throw that 2 cents in there. But thank you. I appreciate everything that you put together for us.
Thanks for, so go ahead.
Sorry. I guess I do have a comment. Jamie just inspired me. But so again, yes, I also just want to thank you. I think it's awesome work. Along the lines of attracting people, I think I like that you highlighted Lopez Lake. I think that's great. I think there are other things that we could also promote that people enjoy being outdoors here, and so maybe that's just something. Some of the sporting activities and just a lot of the outdoor activities that are offered here, I think could be something to highlight. So just among the other things that you're already doing, I really appreciate. But I think as the community. I mean, so there are values that the community holds that visitors would also share in. And so I think outdoor recreation is a big one there. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Really a great job, I think. And I'm definitely a newbie at this subject, but I just found a lot of your work to be impressive. And I'm looking at just, I guess, more as I guess I would be a customer or something. I mean, I don't have the expertise that some of these folks do in terms of TOT and all of that. But the Aurora Grande looks really impressive to me. The billboard, I love. The partnerships that you've taken advantage of or just worked on are great. And I especially love some of these farther out cooperative situations like with Phoenix. That's awesome. You know, get out of the heat. Hello. Yes. So just thank you and great job. And I hear what Council Person Marvelia is saying about the price point and maybe some lower, but I also think we have some retail stores that are pretty reasonably high end, and we have some restaurants that are. So I do think that is an aspect that's still out there. So thank you. Do you have anything to say about what the speaker said about parks? I know you have some in there. I don't know about the others.
You want
We
to go?
do have parks that are featured on the website, so they are listed there.
Yes.
Strother Park is there as well, but we can work with the South County Historical Society to make sure that they are featured as an independent entity.
We had
Thank
a.
you.
Sorry, we can't have.
Thank you for the feedback.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Is that receive and file? So do we need a motion to receive and file? No.
No, we do not. It's just
Okay.
receive and file. Thank you.
I'm just out
Oh.
of curiosity, how do we get the CEQA comment in there? Is that just because it's written in there, it's okay? All right.
Yes, I think for receive and file, we're certainly comfortable that the council can provide direction without a formal motion on that.
Great, let's receive and file. Thank you. Sorry, what's that bring us to? Council communications? Anybody? Councilperson Lowe?
Yes, thank you. Let's see, on Monday, October 6th, I attended an event that was hosted by the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. They hosted a gathering of local elected officials to talk about climate and energy, and specifically they were focused on strategies and best practices to mitigate disinformation. I thought that was quite interesting. And then also last week, October 8th through 10th, I participated along with some of my colleagues in League of California Cities conference in Long Beach, and it was a great experience, and I have lots of ideas to bring forward at some point, gathering my, collecting my summary and all that, but very, very good event. Thank you.
Councilperson Guthrie?
Yeah, and I'll say I too attended the league meeting and will report out as part of our reports on some of the interesting things I heard there.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Okay, thank you all. Just generally, I'm excited to hear about the hazardous material reduction work that's going on at the James Way, open space? And I know that folks in that area are going to be very appreciative of that. And I realize there's other areas that it's happening as well, but nicely done. That's I think really helps put people's mind at ease. So that's great. Let's see, also excited about the park playground opening. Hopefully can go to that. Wasn't here last time, so just my update on the Harvest Festival. Thank you so much. Another great festival. I enjoyed doing the opening remarks and, of course, riding on the float, but also this year, yes, helped judge the baking contest. So I'm just saying, that hazelnut cake. So, yeah, amazing. So I think that's it. Do we have anything else? Nope. Good. I think we're adjourned. Thank you.